Welcome back to our live show here on Sheffield Live TV. If you missed any of it, part one was particularly lively with Steve Bracknell joining Chris Turner here in the studio. Then you can watch it later on YouTube, the whole show. But we've had a half-time substitution here. Steve Bracknell, he had to go back to the Royal Oak, as he told us, so he flew out the studio. And our substitute is Chris McClure, a first-timer on the show as well. First time you've been on, Chris. Musician background, famous for an Arctic Monkeys cover of their debut album. We'll go into that later. A Sheffield Wednesday supporter alongside Chris Turner. And did you watch the first half?
I've just seen him leaving building. He's in a bit of a rush, he says.
Yeah.
But he looked pretty proud of himself.
Quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on his way back to Oak, he says.
Did you sort of sympathise? Do you laugh with him or at him? Do you think?
No, he's great. I think he's a very relatable man, and that's what we're trying to get across with. I think.
Yeah.
There's a bit of Steve Bracknell in us all, I think.
Absolutely. Is there a Steve Bracknell in you, Chris Turner? Would you say?
I'm sure there has been, yeah.
I think you kicked it into touch.
Well, you know, in my days in management at the various clubs, and you know, when I listened to him and seen him on YouTube videos, we've all been in and around that at some stage.
All lost it occasionally.
All lost it. Yeah. Many a time I've booted. I remember Mansfield Town kicking our a plate of sandwiches after the game. We were winning 2-0, got beat 3-2, and you exploded and would kick the sandwiches.
Kicked the sandwiches
all over the place. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah. So you know, there's always that part of you that as a manager you lose it a little bit.
Hopefully not like Brian Laws and the Ivano Benetti.
Well, no, I think that's a little bit too beyond reach, but. No, I mean, sometimes you know, I've been in the dressing room 2 down at half time, and you're thinking, do you go into your players? But then no, talk calmly and sensibly to them, and you go and win the game 3-2. It was Reading at Hillsborough, and people say, "Oh, it must be in some team talk you give." Yeah. When really, I just said to him 3 things you've got to do better in the second half: close down, get in the face, and get on the front foot. And they did do the second half. Coochie smacks one in from 35 yards, one that actually did hit the target, and it went in, and we win the game 3-2.
Yeah, brilliant. Who is Steve Bracknell? Tell me, who is Steve Bracknell?
He's a creation of mine, really, based on a real person.
Right.
So around 10 years ago, I had an idea for this character. Basically, we used to play for Ecclesfield Red Rose. There were me, some at Arctic Monkeys, Jamie Cook from Monkeys, some at Milburn lads, for musicians that's listening or watching. And there were Ian and Rob Rowley, and Ian were a bit more philosophical and you know, express yourselves today. You need to just get relaxed into it. And then Rob would come in with like, bang, are you gonna have it off these today? And it were like so. It were an idea just to like replicate that, but since that, and then I stopped doing it, to be honest. It went really well, and then I stopped doing it, made a few changes to my personal life, and then I got it back up and running, and it's gone from there, really.
Yeah, how does he feel about it, the case study, the guy that you model?
Oh, he loves it. Like, I think he's got a bit of like Sheffield fame from it. Yeah, he's always messaging me, and but everybody in it is based on someone. No one has just been created from nothing. It's all so every character you see, they are
really based on a real character.
Yeah, it's all real.
June and Terry?
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Landlady.
And the Royal Oak, like a typical pub that
Angel at Grenoside.
Yeah, based on the Angel at Grenoside, right? Okay.
So it's all, so it can't, but Tommy and Winnie and Housey they're not acting. They're pretty much true to themselves. Some things we'll elaborate on, but they're...
Did you expect it to get where it's at now? Where, quite seriously, I mean, we joked about it when I was talking to Steve in part 1 about a possible book, and I also mentioned, you know, maybe interest from TV companies in developing it, which I think is genuine.
Yeah, I think there's some opportunities to develop it, I think, since that last video. And
that was the one that we showed a little bit of there. That was the one that really sparked it, wasn't it? Or rekindled it for you.
Well, look, because we do it on, because of your time restrictions online for your videos, Twitter's 2 minute, TikTok's like you only get 20 seconds. Like, you ain't got a lot of time to explore story and depth, but I kind of had it in my head that there's a deeper thing going on with this guy here. This is a story to be told about this guy's psyche and how he sees the world. So we took a bit. It was my idea to take a bit. So it was for selfish reasons, really. I did it. I thought there's an opportunity to like shock people and show that there's another side to it. And I think it, alongside like bringing up a very important subject, it kind of.
Do you naturally slip into that now? You know, Steve in part one was Steve. You know, there didn't seem to be anything too fabricated about it. You know, is it easy to do him?
Well, there's a bit of me. There's a lot of me in Steve. Like,
well, you look like him.
Yeah, it's like a spitting image to be honest. But
when you go in the pub, is that how you act when you go in there, or you just go in there quietly? And
no, I've always been like lively, yeah, and in your face. But I think a lot of his story that I want to tell is a lot, the very similar traits to my story, not completely, but. And his relationship with his wife, Nikki.
Nikki,
yeah. Who you don't really see, but
no, her indoors.
Well, she's got a salon. She's a bit more successful than him now, which is dead in his pride, isn't it? But
players' wives can go in there.
That's it. There's all that sort of politics to explore, isn't there?
Good business.
Yeah. Well, as Chris McClure, tell me about Sheffield Wednesday, your passion for the Owls, and where you think things are at now. I'm
relatively happy. I think. I understand the criticisms of Moore's tactics now and again, especially when you look at Plymouth away and he takes Josh and Barry off, and I think
nobody agreed with that.
No, he's got to own up to that.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of it. I go home and away, so I think you've got to judge it from where we were at as a club when he took over, and I was really fearful. I thought this is going to a very dark place, and that team really needed dismantling. And I think he's done a good job of dismantling that, bringing some other people in, and just reconnect. And I think club away from the football side of things, I think they're connecting a bit better with fans a little bit, and it needed it. It's not perfect by any means. I don't think Darren Moore's perfect, but he's been very good for club, I think, overall. And I think we can do it this year.
Yeah, he seems to have changed the culture. There's a lot more togetherness. He's recruited well. He's recruited so well that there could only be one person to blame if Wednesday don't go up, Chris.
Well, I mean, we've said before on this sofa before about the recruitment, how bad it's been in the past. Now we can now say how well it's gone, and the young players that are sort of coming through now, I know a younger player base with years ahead of them, sprinkled with a bit of experience. And as Chris says, you know, Darren came at a very bad time with Steve Brel and then Tony Pulis leaving and Gary Monk, and managers were coming in and going, and it's like calm the situation down. And I look at Darren, and we spoke earlier about Gareth. Darren's a good fit for Sheffield Wednesday, and you know, but like everybody in management, you drop a couple of points or you don't win where you should win, like probably last Saturday at Exeter. We scored a goal in the 93rd minute, and it's a life-saving goal. If it had been the other way around and Exeter scored in the 93rd minute, there's a crescendo of discontent and criticism. And unfortunately, that goes with the territory of being manager at any football club. But I think Darren's a good fit, he's a calm fit. You know, he's never going off as we're going to win the league, we're going to get promoted. Likewise, when we lose, he doesn't stand there and, you know, throw out a load of depressive comments about, we don't, you know, he just gets on with the job.
You would never know from his demeanour and facial expression whether they've won, lost or drawn, honestly.
He's so calm.
Yeah.
And I think the players play that way. They play with a certain calmness about them. I mean, sometimes you want them to be a bit more on the front foot and a bit more, you know, put in a bit more, not so much effort, but speed it all up a little bit. But it's you know, I do think the league's there for the taking. I don't think there's a team that's really running away with it. I think both teams in front, Plymouth and Ipswich, are quite capable of losing 2 or 3 games on the spin. Wednesday have just got to get the performances out the system, like Exeter, like 1 or 2 other games that seem to crop up every now and again.
They've not played well for 6 or 7 games now.
No. Well, I don't think we're you know, I watched a couple of games, 3 games on the spin, and the amount of good opportunities and great situations failed to hit the target or failed to score. You know, they should have put teams way out of sight, and that's a little bit worrying regarding.
And also the team
goals.
changes. Now, this is Darren Moore's way. He's not going to change. He's going to rotate
He's a manager.
it.
There's a lot of similarities between Moore and Southgate. I know it's different standard of football, but I think there is a lot of similarities in. He likes to tinker, doesn't he? He knows
I
what.
think it's.
They're both principal characters.
I think it's
morally very
completely.
sound.
I think it's modern football, Alan. Modern football, I think.
Yeah.
You know, the days of, you know, when Liverpool used to win the championship and play with 18 players who play 40, 50 games apiece in all the competitions. Them days are gone now. Managers and sports science and everything else is all managed. You know, I was at a football club this week, and all training sessions are managed, how far they've ran, what speeds they've done and sprints they've done, all the way every week, so that when they go out there at 3 o'clock, the team that go out there are the ones that should be in the best mental and fitness ready for the game, whereas in the days gone by, if you won last Saturday, you'd be playing next Saturday, and it'd be the same team.
Yeah.
Those days have gone.
Are you still confident that it'll be top 2?
Well, I am, and then you're not when you watch last Saturday's game against Exeter, and you worry a little bit.
I think we can do it, yeah. It's going to be tough. I think you look at Accrington away when you're picking up the 1-0s, and you are, I know Saturday weren't good, but you're scoring last minute and get that point away from home, and I think we are a bit more savvy, and I think when we get going again and it properly gets going January, February time, when injuries start adding up, I think we might benefit from that, because we have got that extra level of depth, which comes from Darren.
And you'd like to think that we've had our injuries, because once again we have had a lot of injuries to key players. Unfortunately, looks like Barry Bannon may miss a game or 2, but hopefully you know, the strikers at the top end get some good form in the last 3 months of the season, and it gets us up to the 1 and 2 positions.
Yeah, I'm still confident.
Oh, I think we're all confident, and I think that the thing is that we're so far ahead of those behind that playoffs is you know, virtually guaranteed. We've got to get that 1 and 2 position.
Okay. Sheffield United.
I'm
talking to the wrong guys, aren't I?
That's all good. Go on, ask us about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going great. I mean, I'm convinced that this is going to be a double promotion season in Sheffield First for quite a while. In fact, I'm just trying to remember when the last time was that both of them won promotion in the same season. Sheffield United seem to have recovered what they had when Chris Wilder was manager.
Every time they have a bit of a blip, I get my hopes get raised. They kind of seem to get wheels back on track, don't they? But I think that Wilder transition were always going to be a weird time for him, and I think Eckingbottom's a very clever appointment. You know, a man who doesn't.
Brought in by Chris Wilder.
Yeah, of course. He comes with a good CV.
And I brought Ecky to Sheffield Wednesday.
You did.
There we go.
You did.
And he got us promoted.
You did. Yeah. And he was the guy that led the players on a conga on the M5 on the way home.
Right.
And on the coach
No wonder
home.
you signed him.
Yeah, because you weren't there to see that.
No.
But in Lee Bullen's book, which I had the pleasure of writing with Lee, he told me that Hecky was the guy that traffic was at a standstill on the M5. And players got bored, they were drinking heavily. And so with the coach at a standstill, he led the players out the coach and did a conga on the M5. Lots of Wednesday fans in cars around hooting. In fact, lots of them got out.
That's what you want, isn't it?
That's great.
So Hecky's quite a character and a good leader.
Well, he's done fantastic. And they've had a lot of injuries this season, a lot of key players missing, but managed to kill and keep nicking them results, and they're in... going beyond Christmas, they're in a great position.
I think they'll both get promoted, honestly.
Yeah, I think I would say that.
They've both got the best squads in their respective divisions, I think.
Well, it'd be nice. It would be nice.
It would indeed. One thing that shot you to fame, apart from Steve Bracknell, but a bit earlier than Steve Bracknell, this photograph, right? This photograph. On the cover, as it says there, of Arctic Monkeys' debut album. Now, you probably wouldn't recognise Chris McClure from that. You've changed slightly facially.
Well, look at my hairline.
Yeah. And it became an iconic picture, and everybody wanted to know who it was. Is that right at the time?
Crazy time, yeah. It's all a bit. It sounds a bit cliche, but it's a bit hazy that period of time.
They made you drink heavily first. You didn't need a lot of
encouragement. They forced me down and poured it down my neck.
And then sat you down to smoke. Why did they pick on you and that image, do you think? You knew them, obviously. So
I'll put a very long story short. We'd all grown up. There were me and my brother John from Everton Makers. There were Milburn lads. All came back to this thing about this Sunday League team. And we were all from like North Sheffield, Grenoside, High Green, Chapeltown area. So we kind of got buddies through music. It was quite an exciting time. We all used to go to Boardwalk on Sniggill, and my brother and Alex worked behind the bar, and they became a bit of a scene, I suppose, and a bit of a friendship group. Long story short, I ended up working for them on the first 2 ever tours. I think they just wanted someone who were like not going to lose their head, although you can. They were banned me and a guy called Tim Cleese.
They wanted somebody who wasn't going to lose their hair.
Well, yeah, they didn't get that, did they? And long story short, I stopped working for them after the first 2 tours. I went to I were at Manchester Uni, and originally we were just going to take some photos for Inlay. Yeah. And I'm right in thinking that it was going to be a bit of a concept album in terms of it were going to be a weekend of this guy's life. Started from Friday afternoon to Sunday night, and we took the photograph sober in Liverpool. We did some on Division Street, then went to Liverpool, and I thought that would it done, and then they come back saying, "Look, there's one image that we think's right striking. Like, will you recreate it? But we want it to be genuine. You to be on ale." So went to Liverpool.
It's honest.
Me, Tommy, who was in that scene, Tommy. And a guy called Matt went to Liverpool. He gave me a big wad of cash. I went, come back in 12 hours. You can imagine.
Good day.
You can imagine.
And they paid you for it as well.
Well, I think they had to, so I couldn't sue him further down the line and say, hold on, right image.
Imagine getting that.
I know a few players who'd like to be on that.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't realise it was going to be that successful at the time, to be honest.
No. Well, and then, obviously, with the success of Arctic Monkeys and everything, you've become associated.
It's just something that I'll never leave. I went to stop at my mate's house in Liverpool the other week, and I stopped in his spare room, and he had 1,000 of the greatest albums ever on side at bed, and I thought, well, that's a bit of nighttime reading. Stevie Wonder, Bob Marley, and then you're like, all right, yeah, my face is there. It's like, it is a bit. You get moments where it's like, this is, oh right, yeah, it is huge.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Bracknell didn't seem to know who you were, but...
he drinks with Cookies Dad in an High Green club now and again, I think. But he's not very happy, I don't think, Steve. I saw a tweet from him and he said that they train on Hillsborough Park and Arctic Monkeys are playing on Hillsborough Park. Yeah. So he's the knackering training pitch-ups.
Right.
Apparently, he says on Twitter that he's wrote to him and said, like, we deserve compensation for this. He says, Ten Hag won't put up with it with Steve. Stevie Wonder playing penalty area, you know what I mean?
No, quite right too. Yeah. So, Chris, where are you heading this weekend then? I tell you what, there'll be a load of games off. There won't be many.
I think there will be a few games off with this weather and snow around the country. I tend to watch a lot of games on iFollow on the weekend, so I can watch quite a number of games. So I'll probably choose one of them. And there's as a mentor for managers in various leagues that I tend to watch their games.
Interesting, yeah, this mentoring scheme, it's great. That's through the League Managers Association. It makes a lot of sense that former managers out of the game are passing on their experience, being a shoulder to cry on for current managers. So how many managers do you mentor?
4 at the moment. I've had 6, and two are out of work at the moment. And the ones who are out of work are the most important ones in my eyes, because they're the forgotten people. Yeah. When you lose your position, first few days, everybody's ringing, oh, it should never be sacked, should be that.
Yeah.
You'll get another job, you do this. Yeah. 2 weeks down the line, nobody rings. 4 weeks down the line, 3 months down the line, nobody's rang you.
Yeah.
Lonely place.
And it's a very, very lonely place. And, you know, from having 100 calls a day, 50 calls a day, 100 calls a day from agents, from players, from managers, from directors, from chairmen, from media, to nobody. You know, we were speaking earlier, people,
Mental health,
you know, where the footballers, the managers fall into it. So I find that, and I feel that the managers who are not in the work, who are not in work, need that call, need that visit, need to go and have a chat with them, how's things going, blah, 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 you watch this, you're doing that, got to keep yourself going, and show the interest in them, that it gives them a lift. And that's what they need. And then the managers in positions. We've got one in the Premiership, one in the two in League One, and one in the National League. So various levels. Just go around, go and see them, have a chat with them. You're not there to tell them you should be playing 4-4-2 or 4-3-1-2, whatever. You're there just to listen to them. Is everything okay? Is anything we can do to help you? You know, I've had managers who've come up with 1 or 2 problems that I've had in the past, you know, that I can relate to in the past and guide them. And sometimes when you're a manager, I mean, I was in a position 2 or 3 times where I had to make a big decision. Leave Hartlepool, come to Wednesday, do I take the Stockport job, do I go back to what? You know, you need somebody from outside a little in a circle, just to sit down for 10 minutes with them and say, what do you think?
Yeah, bounce it off.
Bounce it off, and you still might do the same decision, but somebody else might go say to you. I always remember Martin O'Neill, when I first met Martin O'Neill. He came to Leicester to take over at Leicester, and he went to Norwich. He was only there 2 or 3 weeks. And when he got there, Robert Chase was a chairman, and he couldn't relate to him, should never have gone there, and he left. And then he came to Leicester, and I had a good chat with Martin in those days. And Martin was saying that he could have gone to Nottingham Forest in those days, you know, ex-Forest European champion winner, etc. You think he'd walk there, but no, he was calm in his thinking. Is it the right time to go to a club? Whereas a lot of managers, you know, we were talking about one manager earlier, didn't do the due diligence on the club and didn't do the due diligence on him. He felt, and you know, if you've got somebody to say, hey, just a minute, let's have a look at the situation. You're top of the league with Hartlepool. You're 14 points clear. You're going to win that league. You're going to join Sheffield Wednesday, who are bottom of the league with a bunch of players that are struggling badly. Maybe you should stay here, because that job will come up again.
Do you think that you should have stayed at Hartlepool?
Well, in hindsight, you can possibly think that.
Yeah.
But I did have nobody to say.
But it was the heartstrings, though, as well.
Well, it's the heart. The heart rules the head.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talking of the heart ruling the head, we're off to the pub across the road.
And Alan's paying.
And I'm paying. And the Royal Oak, being at Grenoside, is a bit far.
We need to go up and see him, don't we?
We ought to go to the Royal Oak, really, but we're not. But I tell you what, I've had a message while you were talking just there from Steve Brackley to say that he's free to return back down here to meet us for a pint, which is going to cost me an extra one. So it'll be Steve Brackley and Chris McClure in the same room, right? In the same bar.
For price of one.
And Chris Turner. How about that? So we're going to round the evening off. Hope you've enjoyed the show. As I said before, if you've missed it, it's going to be on my YouTube channel very shortly. We're back with a pre-Christmas show as well next week. See you then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.